Corbin, Hornacek, and Stockton. Look for John Stockton to make his move tonight, Gary.
Dennis Rodman has been suspended for this game, fined $10,000. David Robinson is playing, even though he twisted the knee on Saturday, and he scored the first basket of the ball game. Utah has been tough on San Antonio. They've won 22 of the last 23 in Salt Lake City. The series even at 1, and right now the Jazz feeling they're in the driver's seat as they come home.
Well, the Jazz feel very good about themselves because they feast on this place, the Delta Center. They've only lost 8 times here all year.
Benny Del Negro, one of the starting guards. Here's Dale Ellis. He needs to get started. He has not been shooting the ball well. Neither one of these teams, for that matter. They're both shooting 42% collectively after the first 2 games. There's Anderson. Felton Spencer had a hand on it, and out it comes to John Stockton.
Well, this is what Jerry Sloan wants. He wants Stockton to push the ball.
Hornacek. Jeff Hornacek coming into this game, averaging 7 points in the first 2 games and celebrating his 31st birthday today. Ellis missing there. Rebound by Karl Malone. Jazz with a 4-2 lead. John Stockton off to Hornacek again. Malone has been playing very well, averaging 29.5 in the first 2. Rebound is cleared, and then it'll be off of Felton Spencer. It'll be San Antonio's basketball.
Well, you saw Karl Malone take a perimeter shot. Jerry Sloan told us he could shoot around. He'd like to hold Karl inside a little bit more. He said, if I don't hold him inside, you can't blame anybody but me.
The question you have, Dick Versace, is how much do they miss Dennis Rodman? What is his absence going to mean to this game?
Gary, they miss him a lot. 14 rebounds a game, 8 points a game, 2.5 steals, hustle and defense.
Robinson stripped to the ball. Terry Cummings starting in place of Dennis Rodman, has it blocked, and he's fouled. Now, one of the things that Cummings will give San Antonio is some inside scoring because Rodman never shot the ball.
No, and he'll give him some perimeter shooting as well, and he can take his defender off the dribble.
Felton Spencer committing the foul, his first. Terry Cummings has been averaging 13 points in the first 2 games. He had a high of 18. He is a battle-tested veteran. He's been in the playoffs many times.
We talked to Terry after game 1. He had a tremendous game 1. Jerry Sloan before the game said, we need a player to step up. Unfortunately, the player that stepped up was on the other team. It was Terry Cummings. He told us after the game, he said, I'm 33 years old, and he said, I still got a couple of good games left in me.
Cummings not able to get the free throws, and the Jazz still enjoy a 4-2 lead. We've played 2 minutes here in this first quarter of play. Utah beat San Antonio all 5 games in the regular season, then split in the Alamo Dome. John Stockton. Stockton needs to get it going. Rebound cleared by Felton Spencer. What a job he's done this year.
Oh, he really has. That's a big play by Felton Spencer. Felton Spencer had his career high against this very San Antonio team during the regular season. 22 points.
One of the most improved players in the NBA. He has 2 blocks already in the game. There's Ellis from outside. Ellis is 0 for 4 and 3-point shots coming into this game. He is nursing a sore foot, and it has really slowed him down. Here comes Karl Malone at the other end.
There's Malone inside. That's what Jerry Sloan wants, and he wants the execution of his offense, something that was missing in game 1.
The Jazz got off to slow starts in game 1 and game 2. In the game Saturday, had only one of their first 16 shots. But they're going here. There's another strip. Robinson thought he was fouled. He's complaining to Jake O'Donnell. And Malone makes it a 10-2 game. Timeout, San Antonio.
The Chicago-Cleveland game is coming right down to it, folks. They're in overtime. It's a 2-point game for the Bulls. Under 10 seconds to play. The Cavs will have the ball. Bonus coverage now, Denny Schreiner and Jim Jones.
Strong shot on the other side. The Cavs close it down. But see, they're going to advance the ball. Gerald's going to call timeout. I'm trying to see if they're going to acknowledge that, or did they acknowledge it once he made the pass? That's key right now.
15.2 left to go. 94-92. Cavs in desperate need of a basket, whether it be a 2 or a 3-pointer. At the Richfield Coliseum, Chicago Bulls with a 2-point lead. There you see the time left in overtime. Denny Schreiner along with Jim Jones. And this one has really been a struggle for both teams, Jim. The entire basketball game, virtually since the opening chat.
And yes, Mark Price, it has been a nail-biter. There's Price paying attention to the huddle. But Denny, the question is now, are they going to be able to advance that ball to the half court with 13 seconds, or do they have to take it underneath the basket against this aggressive Bulls defense?
Chris Mills with 25 leading the way for the Cavaliers. A brilliant performance for the Cavalier rookie. 22 for Price. They're leading the way. Meanwhile, for the Chicago Bulls, Scottie Pippen with 23. 18 for Tony Kukoc. And I'll tell you one thing right now, Luke Longley has been a big factor in this one tonight.
Yeah, it was Kukoc in the first 2 games and Kukoc tonight. But Luke Longley, even carrying baggage of 4 fouls, Denny, was still able to be effective on the defensive end and down low on offense.
Chicago breaks the huddle with Scott Williams, Horace Grant, Pete Myers, B.J. Armstrong, and Scottie Pippen.
The Cavs not playing without their best rebounder, Tyrone Hill, who just fouled out about less than a minute ago.
Fans are on their feet trying to give one last lift to this bunch called the Cleveland Cavaliers, because if they lose tonight, they're done here in the big house. They'll start next year at the arena at Gateway. Gerald Wilkins. Kempton. Gerald gets it back, fires a 3 off the rim. And Chicago with a basketball. And a whistle and a foul from behind. And it looks like the Chicago Bulls will win game number 3 and sweep the Cavaliers.
Denny, that was close. Gerald Wilkins takes this shot. He had a good view of the basket and had plenty of time to really get set for the shot. He takes this baby. I want to see where it hits. Looks like it might have hit the back of the rim. You're going to see it from a top view, and this is a sweet view. It's going this baby straight, but then it's off. Oh, right in the crease. Right in the crease. Look at Horace Grant going over everyone to get the rebound. My. 3-pointer away.
Goggles will be fogging up. Cavs call for time with 5.1 left to go, and there's no doubt.
14-10 the score here, as the Jazz, who started slowly in the first 2 games of the series, got off very quickly. They had 12 unanswered points. San Antonio, though, is clawing back in the game as there's a foul. Jeff Hornacek moving inside. The Spurs hit only 1 of their first 7 shots, and they must have been thinking, oh no, here we go again, after missing 25 in a row in the loss Saturday.
Well, you know, all the years I've coached, Gary, there's been those moments when I sat down on that bench and said, what if we don't make a shot tonight? But I never experienced like an 0 for like San Antonio had, 0 for 25.
Gary Bender along with Dick Versace. We will be rejoining the end of that Cleveland-Chicago game. That's in overtime, so we'll keep you posted on that, as we now have 4:47 to go in this first quarter. The Jazz enjoying a 4-point lead. Hornacek trying to take him on the dribble. Off to Malone, air ball, and the shot clock has expired. San Antonio has really struggled here in Salt Lake City. They have lost 22 of the last 23. John Lucas put it this way. He says they take care of business at home.
They really do. Only 8 losses. You know, that's the theory to have a good season, is to keep your home losses in single digits. And you look around the league, and the teams that have the best records have single-digit losses at home.
Utah was 33-8. They've won their last 6 straight in the regular season. Very nice move that time by Willie Anderson. Anderson with 4. And now it's a 2-point ball game. As San Antonio regrouping here, they are on a 10-2 run. Jay Humphries had 25 points in the game Saturday. Into Malone. Boy, he is fun to watch.
Well, that's his version of the space maker. It's space maker meaning you create space between yourself and the defender by that little fade. That's not what you can do to stop it.
He has 10 of the Jazz's 16 points. Willie Anderson with Hornacek on him at 6'8". It's pretty hard to match up. Felton Spencer tries to come up with it. David Robinson is fouled. Let's go back to Karl Malone. He goes into double digits with this shot.
Well, here's what I was talking about when I talk about a space maker. Watch Karl Malone jump back. He's so strong. He adjusts the distance and can still make the shot, and it's unmolested.
Foul was on Jay Humphries, his first. David Robinson, who was 2 of 14 in the game Saturday, not able to get that shot to go. Real scary moment in that game Saturday when he went down with a twisted knee, but he is okay tonight.
A scary moment when you think that David Robinson might explode for 71.
Here's Del Negro, and Felton Spencer battles to come down with it. Felton Spencer this year averaged 8.3 rebounds a game. That's a career high. Playing in his 4th year out of Louisville. Humphries, who had that brilliant game Saturday, a playoff high, career high at 25.
Now you see a new man on Karl Malone, J.R. Reed guarding him now.
Here's Hornacek with a 3. Tyrone Corbin battling. And that ball's going to go out of bounds, and we're going to go now to Chicago and Cleveland. Let's pick up the action there.
Delay of game warning.
Delay of game warning against Scott Williams. Cavs in a stack right about the top of the key. Price trying to get free, does, and fouled immediately, which is a good play.
That's right, because is that the second? That is the second.
Ball is on B.J. Armstrong.
Is that the second in the last 2 minutes?
First,
No, it
last
isn't.
2 minutes.
Cavs need to have somebody break open, at least get a look at a three-pointer. It's going to be tough to come by.
Tell you what, Rod Higgins was open if they look for the give back.
Gerald Wilkins fires it up, and at least he had an opportunity. The season comes to a close. A very, very tough loss for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Chicago Bulls will advance into round number 2, the final in overtime, 95-92. We'll be back to wrap it up after this.
There you see the final, Chicago 95-92. The Chicago Bulls are into the Eastern Conference semifinals. Back to Utah after this.
If you're not playing on a 3DO system.
Defender Dick Versace, the Jazz with a 16-12 lead. As the Jazz got off the mark very quickly, took a 12-2 lead. Only the Spurs with a 10-2 run of their own. That ball will be out of bounds. It'll be the Jazz's ball with 5 seconds on the shot clock. You can see Karl Malone has 10 of the Jazz's 16, missing only 2 shots. And there's the runs that we talked about. And that's where we are right now with 2:31 to go in this first quarter. The series tied at 1 game apiece as Jake O'Donnell, along with Jack Madden and Terry Durham, the 3 officials in charge of this game tonight. Jay Humphries with the leaner. Rebound cleared by David Robinson. That's 4 rebounds for the Admiral. J.R. Reed, who came in quickly in this ball game as the Spurs, playing without Dennis Rodman, started Terry Cummings, but they got Reed in there quickly.
Well, that's a slimmed-down version of J.R. Reed. You know, Terry Cummings has the bad knees. He's a darn good defender, but I'm sure that John Lucas does not want him on Karl Malone all night.
And that's the kind of shooting that Humphries had in San Antonio Saturday. He was sensational in that ball game with 25 points. He was 11 of 16 for the field in that game. 18-12 Utah. Utah feeling right now they're in a great position to try to wrap this up, not let it get back to San Antonio by winning here tonight and Thursday as Willie Anderson fouled. A foul against Felton Spencer, his second. Let's look back to game 1 and game 2. It was the Admiral in the first game with 25 points and 7 assists. And look at this. Dick Versace, in all your years of coaching, did you ever experience an 0 for 25 field goal streak?
No, I never had an 0 for 25, and I never want to have one.
They went 16
I don't
minutes.
even want to see one, Gary.
They went 16 minutes and 15 seconds without scoring a point.
Oh, that's ugly.
Now, Felton Spencer has been in foul trouble a lot this year. He's already picked up his second, and Tom Chambers will come in. Felton Spencer has been such an addition to this Utah team. Miguel Knight has also checked into the ball game for San Antonio. 14 fouls against Utah, 3 against the Spurs. 18-13, the Jazz. Jeff Hornacek Hornacek, of course, coming over on the trade with the Philadelphia 76ers for Jeff Malone on February 24th. They think he might be the difference for winning it all. Chambers missing from outside. Miguel Knight has had a very good first 2 games in this playoff, outside with the ball. He's been shooting extremely well. That one rattles out. Robinson horsing the boards. Oh, man, look at that effort. What a quick jumper he is.
Oh, he's the quickest in the league. And that's the eighth offensive rebound for the Spurs, Gary. They're very active on the offensive boards. They've only converted 3 of the 8 offensive rebounds.
6 rebounds now for Robinson to go with 6 points as Malone on the leaner, and he'll get the foul. Let's go back to this effort by David Robinson, the leading scorer in the NBA.
Well, Gary, this is one of those replays that I like to just say, hey, just watch. I mean, there's no words to describe the quickness that man has.
So Karl Malone will go to the line. That last foul on J.R. Reed, his second. You can see now the Spurs doing a very good job on the offensive boards. Look at that, 8-1. John Lucas coming in here without the leading rebounder in the NBA in Dennis Rodman. You never know emotionally how it's going to affect the team, but I know Jerry Sloan was concerned that sometimes when you lose a player like that, the other team just feels like they're backed up and they're going to have to play harder and emotionally really respond.
That's right, and it's John Lucas that told us this morning that he really likes his team when they're in that position. He likes them better that way than they when they're coming off of a win and they have kind of happy feet.
Malone is 4 of 4 from the line. He has 12 points, and away from the ball, we've got a foul on Willie Anderson. Anderson charged with the foul, and on Willie Anderson his first as the Jazz will inbound. 46 seconds left here in the first quarter. Hornacek, who played all those years with the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs, didn't make the playoffs last year with the Sixers. Very glad to be back in the real season, as some of the players call it. Here's Humphries to Tom Chambers.
Well, Jay Humphries is the one man for Utah who can break a defense down by himself. He's got that one-on-one ability, the unpredictable way to go and score, and when he gets in the lane, he can find open people as well.
Well, the Jazz are playing their best first quarter of any of the 3 games in this series. They've been slow starters in the previous 2, but not here tonight. As they've returned home.
Oh, yes.
Corbin has a partially blocked. Malone can't get it to follow, and the first quarter comes to a close. But what a good quarter for the Jazz. Karl Malone leading the way. 22-15 lead. 12 points. 4 of 4 from the free throw line. The Jazz tried to take a 2-1 lead. Said about Dennis Rodman being suspended for 1 game and fined $10,000. During the course of the week, John Lucas was quoted as saying he felt that Utah Jazz were a dirty basketball team. So we talked to him, and he cleared the air with this interview.
That, John Stockton throws David down and nothing's called, and that we're being labeled as dirty, unethical basketball team when we aren't. We're just as sneaky as Utah. They're grabbing and holding and doing other things, and I made a comment about being dirty. I don't think they're a dirty basketball team. They're a sneaky team. They do it whatever they can get away with, but they do play clean basketball, and that's what I want. I love the game of basketball. I don't want anything to jeopardize the integrity of this game.
So that clears the air, and John really wanted to make that comment because there were some headlines here in Salt Lake City that he had called them a dirty team. A sneaky team is a better way of putting it.
But he also told us tonight it would be bump for bump.
That's right. That ball gets away from Utah. It'll go over to San Antonio. So we start the second quarter. The Jazz with a 22-15 lead. They trail by 24-20 in the first quarter in San Antonio Saturday, shooting miserably. So they've gotten off to a good start, something Jerry Sloan wanted.
Jerry Sloan has been very unhappy, really, in both games, even though they won the second game very handily. But you also have to consider the 0 for 25 in game 2. He doesn't like the execution, or hasn't liked it up till this point.
Miguel Knight looking inside to J.R. Reed. 8 seconds on the shot clock. 5. Chambers in his face. David Robinson tried to come up with it. It was knocked away from him. Scramble is on. Humphrey saves it.
Oh, that's a nice effort.
Here's Jay Humphries at the other end. You can tell he felt it again.
Oh, yeah. You felt it, I felt it, and I think Jay Humphries felt it.
Well, when you come off of a 11 for 16 shooting day on Saturday, you just keep it going. He's got the touch now. 6-0 run for the Jazz. Rebound clear by Karl Malone. That's 5 for the mailman. Boy, this is a tough place to play. Utah has been so effective. And Spurs are trying to figure out a way to sneak one out of here as Chambers is fouled in the paint.
You know, Gary, it's really interesting. Jerry Sloan coaches a la Vince Lombardi. You know, you don't get surprised by what he does, but you have to be able to stop the execution of what they do. He hasn't been happy with that. I mentioned it before, but it seems to me when they get here, everything falls together for them, and they come out and they're kind of a precision drill team when they get here in the Delta Center.
Well, you know, in the first game, they turned the ball over 21 times, and they only turned it over 14.5 a game. That's just not characteristic of Utah. But here tonight, I'll bet they keep that down. As he said, all we have to do is execute, make them work for every shot.
The other element that he did discuss with us was that he wanted Stockton to push the ball or Jeff Hornacek to push the ball when the opportunity presented itself. Jay Humphries demonstrated what pushing the ball is on that last exchange when he went down and hit the shot from the perimeter.
What was he saying? He said we were walking it up, and the time we got up there, our shot clock had really been cut in half. We were having a tough time getting our offense going. Here's Miguel Knight inside, and Miguel Knight, as we mentioned, playing very well in the series. He's averaging 12.5 points, and he was 8 of 8 from the free throw line of the game Saturday.
And he was the leading scorer in game 2.
25-17 Utah, 10:19 to go in the first half. Here's Malone, out to John Stockton, who again led the NBA in assists, trying to duck inside. Look at that pass to Malone.
Does he know where he is or what? I mean, like they say in Chicago, Gary, does he know where he is or what?
Yeah. Now you know why he has led the NBA in assists for 7 straight years, and there's a foul inside on Karl Malone. Stockton with 5 assists. Many people feel that John Stockton's the best passer of all time. We'll be back.
See the legendary
John Stockton with the ball, running screen and roll with Karl Malone. He gets into the lane. That's what he wants to do. Hold it right there. Now he looks like he's in deep trouble here. Here, and there's some help here as well. Keep your eye on Karl Malone. Stockton gets in the air, the bailout pass, a sense of where his teammate is.
I guess when you pass like that, it's never a bailout. He's always ready. He has 5 assists, and 4 of those have gone to Karl Malone, and he's played only 9 minutes in this ball game. What a combination, those two future Hall of Famers. They've been together for 9 years. What great synergy they have between them.
Yeah, they get along pretty good, too.
Yeah, they do. It helps. Here comes Malone and Stockton now. They say stepped out of bounds. So to go back to San Antonio. Jack Madden over there calling a play. They'll return to center court, and Lloyd Daniels will inbound. Crowd just now understanding what that's all about. You can probably hear the buzz in the background. Biggest lead of the ball game now for the Jazz. 9:40 to go, first half. Malone on Robinson, and that's what he was doing Saturday, taking some of those shots outside, and they just weren't finding the mark. Here's Stockton. Look at the pass again. Up it comes to Malone. Malone can't believe it's this open.
Well, I mean, that's what you call a warm-up jump shot. The same shot that you take in warm-ups when no one defends you. He even faked and tried to draw the defense. They didn't bite. He nailed it.
Almost too much time.
Oh, wow.
Malone now 6 of 9 for the field. 16 points in the ball game. In the ball game now is David Benoit, number 21. There's the inside move that Robinson's got to get going. But it's so hard. Karl Malone has those quick hands and the big body when he gets up against you.
But, Gary, once you let David Robinson catch it that deep, there's not a lot you can do. He was smart trying not to try that tomahawk shot at that time. It would have been a foul.
Jay Humphries taking Lloyd Daniels on the dribble. Off it comes to Malone. He'll try one from the other side. This time it's tipped off to Miguel Knight. 3-on-1. Ellis. And Benoit actually got a piece of that. they would have called goaltending had it not gone anyway. But Ellis, maybe that'll get him started. He's hit his first field goal after 4 attempts.
Now you watch. Jerry Sloan will try to go inside now. He doesn't want Karl Malone making a living from the perimeter. There's the back pick with a low post-up.
9 seconds on the shot clock, 8:15 to go. First half, 29-21 Utah. Stockton gets Miguel Knight in the air, and he gets a foul and a continuation.
That's great execution. They turned down the post-up because they wanted to get the last shot. Work the shot clock down. Little lean back fade. Buried it. Pretty.
Well, we mentioned Stockton's numbers are down. He had only 3 points in game 1, averaging 6.5, which is considerably below his regular season average of 15.1. Tonight was 6 assists and 2 points. But you knew those numbers would change.
Oh, you really did. I mean, he's still in very good health. He's got many good years left in this league.
32-21 as we have 8 minutes to go, second quarter. Miguel Knight using the pick by Robinson. Strip. It'll be off of Utah. Melton Spencer coming in. This gives us an opportunity to remind you that the conclusion of tonight's game will be selecting the Budweiser Player of the Game. Budweiser will donate $1,000 in his behalf to the United Negro College Fund. Here's Ellis.
Shot clock.
5 seconds on the shot clock. Miguel Knight into Robinson with 2. Leaves it short again, and the shot clock expired. The basket will not count. Terry Durham saying no.
No, I think Durham's calling that the basket was good.
Is it? Let's wait and see.
Looked like it to me. He was giving the good sign.
Now, Jake O'Donnell's going to talk to Jack Madden and also Terry Durham.
Now, will Jake overrule? Let's see. Let's take a look and see what happened. Watch the shot clock. Air ball.
Now, they were out of time, don't you think? Or did he have it going?
Unless it nicked the rim. Well, see, if that ball coming down nicked the rim, then potentially you'd get a reset there.
So the basket does count, and it's 32-23. Antoine Carr getting ready to come into the lineup for the Spurs. Humphries using the pick by Chambers. Gets it out to David Benoit. He's been shooting the ball well the last 3 weeks. Rebound is cleared by Del Negro. Ellis, when he's shooting it well, he might have pulled up with that one. He just doesn't have the confidence right now.
No, he really doesn't, Gary.
In the corner, Miguel Knight. Knight tries to take it to the hole, and Tom Chambers with a good defensive effort. David Benoit, who can jump with anybody in the game. He had 9 rebounds Saturday and has really contributed in this series. Listen to this crowd. Let's go back. Watch this alley-oop to David Benoit.
Well, if you watch Jay Humphries, he at first turns him down, says, I want something better. How about this?
Not bad. 34-23. Utah of the Utah Jazz, and the Jazz with a 34-23 lead. Utah shooting 52%. San Antonio only 33.
Ouch. Karl Malone 6 for 9, 16 points. Headed for a big night.
As we come back in now, Antoine Carr is in. Carr has not played a lot, but he'll see some duty tonight because of the absence of Dennis Rodman. He played very well in the series last year against the Phoenix Suns, then sprained an ankle and has been battling back ever since. Terry Cummings will check back in. Rebound cleared by Jay Humphries. You know, that play right there is the kind of play Rodman likes. He would have been up and causing some problems on the board. There's Felton Spencer following. Chambers comes back. And when you have your leading rebounder out of the lineup, little things start to add up in a hurry.
Well, the Utah bench is contributing. That's the 11th point off the Utah bench, only 2 off the San Antonio bench.
Antoine Carr, the big body, he is big, strong guy, kicks it out to Miguel Knight. Benny Del Negro, they jump out on him. Ellis tries to follow. Felton Spencer just forces the ball away from him. Jay Humphries off to Chambers. David Benoit. Rebound cleared by Terry Cummings.
Benoit got a nice rhythm shot, just couldn't get it down.
Here's Vinny Del Negro, who's averaged 9.5 points in the first 2 games. There's a 3 by Ellis. That didn't even look good. And do they need his outside shooter? The all-time leading 3-point shooter, still to hit one in this series.
Who would have thought? Dale Ellis, no threes, made over 1,000 in his career.
The only to shoot over 1,000. Humphries, though, is picked up where he left off Saturday. You know, he started all those games after they played at Jeff Malone. He started 19 in a row. Then they went back to Hornacek as a starter. But what an addition he's been in the last 2 games.
He really has. He is the difference. Both teams have shot poorly in the series, Gary. Both teams right around 42%.
Tonight, much better for Utah, shooting 52%, as we have now Hornacek coming back into the ball game. 31% for San Antonio. Hornacek is in. Humphries sits down. There's the final. And Chicago sweeping the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we've had 2 series come to a close.
Mike Fratello did a great job with a shorthanded team. Had them at 12 over 500 to end the season.
How about Larry Brown's Indiana Pacers?
Awesome. They've got a very fine basketball team. Don't be surprised if they end up in the Eastern Conference Finals.
After that basket, Willie Anderson was shaken up. We'll be back to check that out. The Jazz with a 40-23 lead.
NBA playoffs on TNT are brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer.
Watch how he sets up his teammate with a pick right here. He's going to set a nice big wide body pick for Jeff Hornacek. This is why Hornacek is so wide open. Look at that. Has all kinds of time to measure the shot. He's not going to miss that one.
Well, an 8-0 run by Utah, and in this second quarter, they're shooting 67%. They are 8 of 12. And you made a comment during the break. This is a different-looking Utah team here tonight.
It really is. In fact, this is the Utah team that played so well during the season, that had the 11-game winning streak. This is a Utah team that is Lombardi-esque in its execution.
And there's nice execution. David Robinson able to get that one. It's 40-25. Robbie now 5 of 11 from the field. Stockton in midair. Always finds a place to go with the ball, though, doesn't he? And then we're going to have a foul on Felton Spencer. That'll be his 3rd. A little moving screen. And so Spencer's going to have to come out of there, and Karl Malone will come back in.
Well, you know that little pass that you were just describing, Gary, where Stockton goes up in the air? I call it a bailout pass because he goes up in the air. Normally, you don't teach kids to pass that way when you teach a kid to pass while he's on the ground. But great passers know how to make the bailout pass.
I would guess he's averaged 12.6 assists to lead the NBA again, and we have a foul inside on the miss. Robinson. Well, let's check another game that's underway. And Portland trying somehow to stay alive in this series, leading by 5. The Rockets leading 2 games to none. We'll keep you posted on that one. Earlier, of course, you witnessed the end of that overtime win, the Bulls over the Cavaliers. Here's Antoine Carr. That's what he does well, Dick. Big body, just muscles his way in.
Well, when Twan is healthy, when Antoine Carr is healthy, he's got great low post moves. He's not a great rebounder for a man his size, but he can really score.
40-27 Utah, 3:45 to go in this first half. Already 14 assists in this ball game for Utah, and here's the guy leading the way in that department as always. 4 seconds on the shot clock with 2. Chambers from the corner. And the rebound, Vinny Del Negro. Del Negro became the starting point guard late in December, and that's when San Antonio started to really go on their surge. They played as well as anybody in the NBA there for a while, and there's Carr again. I always feel like this guy comes in and acquits himself so well. He's always very effective.
One thing he does is he puts the ball in the basket. And there's always room for a guy like that on your team.
6-0 run now for the Spurs, 40-29. And Stockton, no whistle. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Karl Malone turn around, and Willie Anderson fights for the ball and comes up with a defensive board. And he almost threw it away, and it's directly in front of us. It'll be San Antonio's ball, and Del Negro's been hurt. Vinny Del Negro's in real pain in front of us, as it looks like it could be an ankle.
I mean, that's a major blow for San Antonio if that's serious. Now watch and see what happened. It was a loose ball. Karl Malone came after it. Vinny Del Negro came after it, and it was kind of a scramble. Malone thought he got fouled. He was complaining, but it's Vinny Del Negro who's suffering right now.
So Del Negro trying to somehow come up with that ball, had the collision with Karl Malone. He's up and walking now, as we're going to have a 20-second timeout with 2:50 to go in this first half of play.
Well, the ball was advanced past Del Negro up to Cummings. There's the loose ball, and Karl Malone and Vinny Del Negro got their feet tangled up, and Del Negro came out with the twisted ankle. Now watch the feet of these two guys as they collide right here, and it's Del Negro who twists his ankle, falling right there. But when they walk on him, Gary, that's a pretty good sign that you got a shot at coming back.
He checks out. Miguel Knight has come in replacing him. It'll be Anderson and Knight in the backcourt. Terry Cummings, David Robinson, and Antoine Carr. Willie Anderson into Carr, who's hit 2 jump shots. Here's Anderson over the outstretched Jet Hornacek.
Well, there was an example where Jerry Sloan elected to double team Antoine Carr, afraid of his post-up moves, kicked it right back out to Willie Anderson. Stockton couldn't get back.
And the Spurs are on an 8-0 run as Stockton is fouled there. Willie Anderson's had 2 entirely different kind of games. He scored 2 points in game 2 after scoring 15 in the first, and they need his offense outside. That foul, by the way, is on Miguel Knight, his 3rd. Ben Wall will inbound. 2:22 left in the first half. 40-31, Utah. Hornacek into Malone. Out it comes to Hornacek again. Anderson with 6'8", those long arms. Hornacek to Chambers. Chambers now has had a couple of wide open shots. Hasn't been able to hit them.
Well, if Tommy Chambers is open, it's up. And it has been for 11 years.
Here's Carr, and he's fouled as he ducks inside. And Carr looks like he may have, I guess he's going to be all right. He's limping a little bit as he gets up. At halftime, we'll be switching to Atlanta for the Reebok halftime report. Alonzo Mourning joining EJ, Ernie Johnson. They'll have scores and highlights for the Bulls, the Cavs, Hawks and Heat, Rockets and Blazers. That's the Reebok halftime report. So, Alonzo Mourning.
Some kind of player.
Yes, sir. That foul was on Karl Malone, his 2nd. Carr at the line. Antoine Carr, they list him at 6'9", 255 pounds. He's all of that.
That's a very generous listing. That man is 270 if he is an ounce. He's 270 in a sunsuit.
I wonder if his per diem holds up. 40-32, they've cut it to 8. San Antonio on a 9-0 run. Minute 45 left in the first half. Hornacek working hard off the ball, and Antoine Carr and Anderson there. I think it'll be Carr with a foul.
I'm sorry, Gary. Antoine Carr has come in and given the Spurs quite a lift, but it's Utah still executing well on the offensive end, getting shots, but simply missing good shots.
Both teams now with 4 team fouls as Hornacek goes to the line. Jeff, brilliant free throw shooter, shooting 88% in the regular season. That was 7th in the NBA.
Well, he's one of these guys that you can talk about his free throw shooting, and you won't jinx him.
You were concerned about that.
No, not with him shooting.
Hornacek, by the way, he is the proud father of a new baby girl a week ago Monday. His wife, Stacy, and he celebrating that moment. And it's a 10-point game. 1:35 left in the first. Robinson, they triple team him, and he forces that one up. Benoit lights out with the rebound. Hornacek on the move. Here's Chambers again, and he's fouled. Robinson coming over. That last shot by David Robinson, he just really didn't have good positioning and didn't have much on the shot. As that'll send Chambers to the line. The foul going on Robinson, his 1st.
Gary, this all started in the first series. It's actually gone on during the regular season. Jerry Sloan has elected to use Karl Malone on David Robinson. Now, Malone has this move that he calls like the chop or the tomahawk chop. Yeah. And what happens is when a player, especially David Robinson, when he brings the ball low, Malone has these quick and incredibly strong hands, and he's been able to consistently get the ball from David. Now, David is worried about it. You can see when he gets the ball, He's kind of concerned about getting it chopped out, and he's kind of changing his shot and rushing his shot.
Well, and he's 5 of 13 to back up just what you were saying. Minute 15 left in the first. 10-point lead now for Utah. Antoine Carr with Benoit on him. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Antoine Carr, followed by Anderson Malone, has the rebound. He's pushed by Antoine Carr as he released the ball right into the face of Jake O'Donnell. And at the other end, Stockton just nonchalantly pumps it in.
See, and what happened is Karl Malone turned and looked at Jake and said, hey, don't worry about it, I'm okay. There'll be no problems.
Well, he knew Stockton was going to hit the shot at the other end.
Of course. Stockton
with 5 points, 8 assists in the ball game. 40 seconds left in the half. In it goes Antoine. Antoine very busy. That big drop step, tries to take it to the hole. The shot clock is expired. I tell you, they're just a little bit out of sync. John Lucas's offense just not really in any kind of precision for him right now.
Gary, you said it before. The absence of Dennis Rodman is something that you just cannot make up for. You cannot measure his energy. You cannot measure how he energizes his own teammates. And he's simply not here tonight. And it's very obvious that there is some spark that's gone from San Antonio.
Well, San Antonio shooting only 33%. 5 seconds difference between the game and shot clock. Hornacek with 3. The last minute to Benoit. Tries to follow. He's an athlete, isn't he?
Oh, he's amazing.
Here's Miguel Knight as the first half comes to a close. And Utah with a impressive first half. 46-32. Spurs with only 32 points in this first half. Karl Malone was 16 for the Jazz and 6 rebounds. So Utah, as we said, plays so well at home, and they're going to have a presentation here before we get in to the second half. As we mentioned, John Stockton, for the 7th straight year, led the NBA in assists. And so here he is now with the Bausch & Lomb NBA Court Vision Award. The 6-time NBA All-Star, had 1,031 assists. Only the second player in history to lead the NBA in assists for 7 consecutive seasons. Bob Cousy did it 8 years in a row. And here's the Bausch & Lomb NBA Court Vision Award being given to John Stockton. What a performance by this veteran who went to the All-Star game for the 6th time. There's Charles Trowbridge, the senior vice president of Bausch & Lomb, with the presentation. And Utah got another outstanding performance from Stockton in this first half. 8 assists and 5 points. 46-32. Utah has the lead at the halfway point.
TNT Sports.
Take hold here now. He has a total of 12 points in the ball game, 6 of 14.
Well, Gary, that's what I was going to say. I would get him as many shots as he can crank up, because
that time Stockton and Hornacek were on top of each other, leapfrog variety, as now they'll inbound with 13 seconds on the shot clock. Vinny Del Negro started the second half, so evidently that ankle that he turned in the first half is going to permit him to continue, and John Stockton continues.
Well, Del Negro's ankle is bothering him, and when he went out to try to recover to get to John, he couldn't do it, and John was wide open.
And now at the offensive end, Del Negro. Here is Ellis. Boy, does this guy need to get something going. 1 of 5 in the first half. Robinson backing in, and it looks like he's going to try to take over this game as he follows his own shot. And eventually coming out of there is Hornacek. And Hornacek with a beautiful running one-hander.
You know, David Robinson lost the ball at the other end, and when he lost it, he just stayed at the other end. I saw a similar play in the Portland-Houston game where Akeem lost the ball like that, turned around and blocked the layup at the other end. Robinson is going to have to really take over this game, not just in taking shots. He's going to have to get on the glass. He's going to have to block shots. He's going to have to be an inspiration, because Rodman's not here.
And I think that last little skirmish is where they miss a Rodman, where that ball kept being tipped up in the air. Here's a putback by Tyrone Corbin. Corbin now has missed 3 shots, and Corbin has not been able to score in this series. He came in here with 2 points in the first 2 games. Here's Terry Cummings driving inside, and he traveled.
You very seldom see that called, but he clearly traveled.
Terry Cummings, 32 years old. He has been a leader, an ordained minister. In fact, before Sean Elliott was traded over to the Detroit Pistons, he married them. And their wife has had the wedding ceremony. Class guy in his 12th year out of DePaul. Here's John Stockton. Ellis tried to get it, batted away by Tyrone Corbin. You would think out of all the shooting of Ellis and Reed and Carr and all the people, they could maybe get the hot hand here and help out this guy, David Robinson.
Well, the forwards have really let the San Antonio Spurs down. Ellis was 1 for 5, Cummings 1 for 4.
And it goes back and forth. Tyrone Corbin finally gets it, and Willie Anderson commits the foul.
And if you look at the combined shooting from the forwards in the first half, they were 4 for 16, Gary. And David Robinson cannot carry this team by himself. He needs some help. This is not a guard-oriented team. Willie Anderson, Vinny Del Negro, not high-scoring guards. And then neither is Miguel Knight. So if the scoring is going to come for San Antonio, it's got to come from those forwards and the Admiral himself.
Well, this year, San Antonio averaged an even 100 points a game. That was 20th in the NBA. As Corbin finally gets on the scoreboard, his first point of the night. That foul just a moment ago going on Anderson, his second. 52-34, Utah. Next game coming up Thursday. You'll see it right here on TNT. And Utah would like to have that one as the one that closes out this series.
But remember, it's the return of the worm.
That's right.
The worm returns.
The demolition man. By the way, he was here in the Salt Lake City area with Material Girl, Madonna, and everybody in the news media was following him around. I think he was headed to Las Vegas after that. That's the last we heard. He cannot be at the ballpark.
No, the rule is that 2 hours before the game and during the course of the game, a suspended player cannot be at the game.
I noticed you were looking around to see if Madonna was here, checking around.
One of my all-time favorites.
I know, and she canceled her tickets, and you were desperately disappointed, but she may be here Thursday, Dick, so have heart.
Yeah, okay.
52-36. Hornacek off to Stockton. Stockton inside, and they move it around with 6 seconds on the shot clock, and Jeff Hornacek. That's a 3.
I believe that's the first 3 of the game. There were no 3s in the first half. Spurs were 0 for 4. Utah was 0 for 3.
Hornacek finished the regular season hitting 8 of his last 10 threes and was 2 of 4 in the series prior to tonight. And there's a foul inside. Well, looking ahead, our coverage tomorrow beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern, the Knicks and Nets. The Knicks trying to close that series out, the 2-game-to-none lead, and then at 10:30 Eastern time, the Suns and Golden State, and the Suns lead that 2-games-to-none. Willie Anderson going to the line. The foul was on Tyrone Corbin, his first.
Would that bother you if you were shooting a free throw?
I think it would be really disconcerting. You can see behind the basket all of those balloons that they wave around. Of course, the great athletes, Dick, it doesn't bother them at all.
Well, then it wouldn't bother you, Gary.
Yeah. Well, it's bothered this guy. The team is now 2 of 8 from the free throw line. Here is Malone. And we're going to have a timeout by San Antonio.
There's no question that Jerry Sloan's team has responded to him. They're doing exactly what he wants, pushing the ball and executing much better.
The NBA playoffs on TNT are brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by Dutch Boy. Give your home the look that lasts.
The Jazz are their biggest lead of the ball game, 57-36. You know, San Antonio won the first game, and David Robinson really got support, but he's been spurned since then. Look at game 2, Cummings, Anderson, and Ellis, and now we're going to take you to tonight and bring you up to the moment, and again, he's getting no support.
Well, that's pretty dramatic how those numbers match up, but the game is not over. I'm not unhappy if I'm John Lucas from the standpoint, at least my team is getting to the offensive boards, but they're just not shooting the ball well.
They're not. Robinson 6 of 17. This guy hits a 3, and that could get him started. He needed that. His first 3 of the series.
That was a deep 3, and he had a lot of time to measure it.
Hornacek kicks it out. Ellis is 1 of 4 from three-point land tonight as Stockton gets the one to go, 2 at the other end.
Well, John Stockton throughout the regular season has owned the San Antonio Spurs guards. Not so in game 1, only so-so in game 2, but tonight he's expressing himself.
He is. He's expressed himself to 9 points and 9 assists. Felton Spencer with the rebound. Felton Spencer weighs 292 pounds and 8.5% body fat. And off of the rhythm is Jeff Hornacek. And that is Hornacek at his best. He comes up and shoots, pulls up, does it as well as anybody.
Well, Gary, he comes into the game shooting 20% or 200% or 20%. You know he's not going to shoot 20%. He's a 50% career shooter, just about, and he's going to make baskets.
El Negro not able to hit that one. The guards continue to struggle for John Lucas. Look at that pass. Foul on Robinson. That would have been a continuation, but again, Stockton with peripheral vision saw Felton Spencer the trailer and somehow got it to him.
Well, you know, I think he probably is the progenitor of hitting the trailer, the best ever in this league at reading the trailer. Watch the trailing man, Felton Spencer, come in. A 290-pound man, as Gary pointed out, takes a hard hit, almost gets the basket in. That would have counted.
Foul on David Robinson's his second. Felton Spencer not a good free throw shooter. Everything else for Felton Spencer has been career high. 8.6 average, 8.3 rebounds. And as Jerry Sloan put it, he has really spoiled us with his play, especially his rebounding.
You know, Gary, when he came out of Louisville, everyone thought this guy was going to be a very good player, and then he just kind of like disappeared. Never played well for the Timberwolves.
61-39, the Jazz. 6.5 minutes to go in the third. Ellis now trying to get the hot hand, misses the 2. Stockton almost lost it again right in front of us. Must be you, Dick. He comes over here and has trouble.
If Don Stockton is bumbling the ball, something's wrong with the ball.
There's Felton Spencer. The chance now to three-point play. The foul is going to go on Robinson, and he's picked up 2 in a hurry. His 3rd of the night.
Well, Felton Spencer's been some kind of surprise for this team. Maybe Jerry Sloan or Frank Layden, whoever made that trade, thought they saw something in Felton Spencer that they didn't see in Minnesota, because he's really made a major difference for Utah.
He has 6 points and 4 rebounds, struggling from the free throw line, however. He is 0 for 3 there. 63-39. Sleepy Floyd, now the veteran, has come in. They bring him in for his defensive prowess. Ellis backing out. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Miguel Knight looking inside. Cummings looking in. Robinson trying to work free. 2 seconds. Cummings trying to take it to the hole, and he's fouled. That was almost frustration the way he went in. They just couldn't get anything going against this Utah defense, and Felton Spencer committed his 4th foul.
You know, Gary, I've been watching the individual battle with Karl Malone and David Robinson. As brilliantly talented as the Admiral is, when he gets tangled up with Karl Malone, it's a huge strength mismatch, and Malone basically can move him on that floor any place he wants.
Kerry Cummings coming back from that severe knee injury. Be 2 years ago this coming July that he blew a knee out in a pickup game. It's been a long uphill struggle for him. And we're going to take a look now at our Chevrolet scoreboard as Miami 90-86, cycling with 20 rebounds. Remember, he had a game early, he didn't even score. And the Bulls in that series, 95-92 in overtime. And that one's underway still in the 3rd. Portland 86-80.
Could be the 3rd sweep.
Tyrone Corbin in the chambers, tried to throw it to Malone, and it was touched by San Antonio. 15 seconds on the shot clock. It was kicked, so they're going to reset the shot clock to 24.
Now look at Terry Cummings arguing with his teammate Dale Ellis. Not a good sign.
Well, the Spurs have scored 41 points in 30 minutes. That's how difficult it's been. And they trail 63-41. And Stockton, he keeps wanting to come over here, I think, and work with you as he goes to the near side. And that's going to be a foul. And they'll take it out of bounds to the near side. Sleepy Floyd trying to step up the intensity with his defense. He's done that from time to time this year for San Antonio.
Well, when a guy puts that much pressure on you, you got to take him to the basket. And did he ever? Just like John did. Or you got to bring up a huge man and set a pick on him.
John Stockton finding a lot of different ways to score. He's 5 of 8. He has 11 points in the ball game. Miguel Knight blew it away. In it comes to Karl Malone. Malone with Robinson had to lay off after committing his third foul a moment ago. Malone saved it. They seem to be getting every loose ball right now. There's Chambers getting another effort, puts it back, and Malone finishes.
Well, Karl Malone looked like Karch Karai. They were playing volleyball.
Timeout for the Spurs. The mailman with 20 points and 9 rebounds.
Well, you might think what you're going to see is beach volleyball, but if you'll keep your eye on Ty Corbin, Karl Malone, and Tommy Chambers, you're going to see 3 great efforts by 3 tremendous NBA players. There's the miss. Watch the save by Malone to Corbin. The miss by Corbin. The extra effort by Tommy Chambers. Up, a miss, and there is Karch Karai. Oh no, it's Karl Malone.
Karch Karai. I didn't know you followed volleyball that closely. You know, the Spurs scored the first 2 points of this game, and now they've been outscored 61-39. And you can see they trail by 26 now. They had only 84 points Saturday, and they may be hard-pressed to get that tonight with 4:45 left in the third. Sleepy Floyd. David Robinson stays alive with it. Ellis trying to get to Robinson, and Chambers came around and hooked him and committed the foul. I think Robinson feels like he's all by himself in an island there. He's got everybody running at him, defensing him, and he's had to work hard for everything he can get tonight. He's 6 of 17. He has 12 points, 10 rebounds. We documented earlier, not a lot of support offensively as Sleepy Floyd is fouled there.
But you know, Gary, as I watch this game unfold, I don't see San Antonio really taking what, you know, any coach would call bad shots, or I don't see selfish play. What I see is a lot of shots just aren't going down. And that gets kind of complicated as the game winds on. It gets discouraging. But on the other hand, you're seeing great execution, great pushing of the ball, and great energy and defense by Utah. That combination of things has resulted in this score.
Another combination is that San Antonio shooting only 31%, Utah 52. 67-42. You see the time remaining in the third. Jay Humphries back in the ball game. San Antonio also not shooting well from the free throw line. They're 5 of 12. There's Hornacek, and Jim, when he's shooting so well, that net barely ripples.
Well, you live in Phoenix. You saw him. He was there 5 years, I believe, and he was a tremendous shooter when he was with the Suns. Things haven't changed much.
Well, he's 6 of 8 shooting this ball game. It's outstanding years of the Suns. Tyrone Corbin scored. And Tyrone Corbin needed that. That's his first field goal of the night. He has really struggled. And now John Lucas motioning to Miguel Knight. Let's get some spacing on the floor. This is a long night for John Lucas. 71-42. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Well, if Dennis Rodman is watching this tonight, you wonder what he's thinking. As he'll return to action here Thursday, and Robinson continues to play hard.
Well, I know Dennis very well, and I'll tell you exactly what he's thinking. He's thinking, I'm coming back. We're going to win here. We're going to go back home and win the series. Sound familiar?
Well, it sounds good.
I was trying to do my best to Paul Westphal from last year.
Here it says Hornacek again. That time Robinson tried to track it down. He hit Chambers, and we're going to have a blocking foul on Chambers. Well, he got hit pretty hard on that play. Is he and Robinson going for the ball?
Well,
no, they're going to call it on Robinson. They call this on David Robinson.
Well, let's take a look. Well, I think it was his foul.
Yep, it's his 4th. The crowd thought they called it on Chambers. I did too, but they called it on the Admiral.
You know, by the look on Tommy Chambers' face when he started.
Look at John Lucas.
He's upset. You know, when things aren't going well, you know, you just got to take it out on someone. Usually it's the officials. They get a little bit of.
Jake O'Donnell's within earshot range, but he's saying, hey, cool it, as Lucas almost at center court, and he's on the court right now. Lucas is on the court. Now he's going to back off a little bit.
Oh, he's only out there a little bit, Gary. I used to wander out a lot further than that.
He's got one
foot.
You
weren't pointing it out, but I was.
You did that, I'm amazed.
A little bit.
Chambers makes it 73-44. Well, the Jazz beat them all 5 games in the regular season. Lost the first one in San Antonio. Now trying to take a 2-game to 1 lead, and Lucas now has got a technical.
That's what he wanted. It's exactly what he wanted. He's got to get some fire into his team. He's got to create a cause. Smart move. My guess is John Lucas is genuinely in control here. He's just looking for an opportunity to do something here.
Jay Humphries saying, hey, don't get mad at me. Jeff Hornacek will shoot the technical. Well, John Lucas this year took his team to a 55-27 year. That's a 6-win improvement. They missed by 1 win, tying the club record of 56, which was set in 89 and 90, and he's still hot. He may be in the dressing room if he doesn't cool down here in a minute.
Well, sometimes a cold beer waiting for you in the dressing room rather than watch your team get a terrible beating is not a bad choice.
Karl Malone tracks it down, 2:37 left in the 3rd. Lucas looked at the bench like, who can I get in here to get something going, and just turned around and watched the rest of the play.
Okay, but let's look at it this way, Gary. This is 1 game. What happens if on Thursday San Antonio wins? Remember, they have the home court edge in this series to begin with. They earned it. This is an odd series because the team that was in the lower portion of the bracket was 5-0 against the team that was in the upper portion of the bracket.
22 points for Malone. Robinson answers at the other end. 2 minutes to go in the 3rd. Well, the Jazz don't want to go back to San Antonio. They want to end it on Thursday night. The Worm will be back. It'll be interesting. There'll be a lot of emotion.
Your girlfriend, Madonna, will be here.
Be careful. I'm sure she will be here, and we'll have the cameras on her as everybody else has their entire weekend she's been here. Now, Jake O'Donnell getting in, being sure that nothing gets out of hand here. Jake does such an outstanding job keeping the control here as Jay Humphries will go to the line. The foul on Sleepy Floyd.
Jay Humphries 1, also penalty for 2.
1:41 left here in the 3rd quarter. 32% San Antonio for the field. Jazz now with 53%. They are 12 of 19 from the line. And Jay Humphries now with 7 points.
You know, when we talked to John Lucas this morning, he was a coach that felt good about tonight's game. He was a coach that had a plan in mind. He said, we've played without Rodman before, and we've been able to win 2 and 3. He also said, I want to extend my guards and put some pressure on the Utah guards. None of it's worked, Gary.
Well, I think Jerry Sloan was genuinely concerned how these other guys have stepped forward. He thought they'd get more inside scoring with Rodman out there as Miguel Knight goes inside and is called for a push-off and offensive foul. When you think about it, Rodman never shoots the ball. He only averages about 5 shots a game, so you figured maybe they could pick it up there, but it hasn't happened there either.
It's all those other things he does, and his inspirational play, diving on the floor, the offensive rebounds, the defensive rebounds, the steals, all of it.
Sleepy Floyd bouncing into Jay Humphries, 2 of them talking to each other. Tyrone Corbett, baseline, Malone, can't handle it. With the off of the Jazz, San Antonio will have it.
See, I just love watching Karl Malone. There was a pass that clearly got away from him. I mean, there was no way he could save it, but he still made the great effort to try to save it.
It's only the 7th turnover. The Jazz had the 2nd fewest number of turnovers per game at 14-5. They just take care of the ball, play very intelligent basketball. They love that half-court game. David Robinson. Antoine Carr's checked in, and he about brought the goal down with that one. I mean, you could hear that rim.
Yes, Twan, we believe. That was a great dunk.
76-48. Miguel Knight now trying to stay on Hornacek. Hornacek takes it in. And good effort by Dale Ellis. Ellis tries to track it down. He can't save it. It'll be Utah's basketball. Ellis obviously is slowed by that sore foot. And in the last part of the season, he really dropped off in his shooting. And in talking to John Lucas today, he said it's quite apparent that he's in pain.
Well, the problem that he has is when he tries to get open, I believe it's called plantar fascia, something tendonitis or something, and it's when he's pushing off of it, trying to get open, trying to use screens. When he spots up on the perimeter and has some time, Gary, when he can kind of set his feet, take a long look, he can still shoot the ball well.
Talking about Dale Ellis of Stockton now with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Malone with 3, into Chambers with 2. Bottle tip, and they're going to count it.
Good count.
Boy, the shot clock expired as Corbin just got that one underway. 4 seconds left in the third quarter. Robinson, long downtown heave, and the Spurs end up with 48 points tonight. They had 49 points through 3 quarters Saturday. The points are not coming easily for John Lucas's team. And so the Jazz have returned to the friendly confines of the Delta Center, and look at this, 32 points in the third quarter, a 30-point lead as they're well on their way to their second win of this series. Just an impressive performance again by Utah.
Well, there's still 12 minutes left, and dramatic things happen in the NBA. I don't expect it to happen.
I was going to say, what are you talking about?
Only teasing.
Hey, you have a friend of the ball game here, or sitting sideline-wise. We'll try to get to him a little bit. A guy who's going to be involved with Dream Team, too.
Rick Majerus, the head coach at the University of Utah, has had an outstanding career at the University of Utah, averaged 23 wins in his career at Utah. There he is. He's also going to be the assistant coach on Dream Team 2. They'll be practicing in Chicago this summer, and I will be taking him out for a little bite to eat at Tufano's restaurant.
All right, he is a very good connoisseur of the food, and we'll be in Toronto to bring you the World Championship. And Chambers continues his onslaught, 80-48. Biggest lead of the ball game, 32 points. J.R. Reed starting the fourth quarter. Chambers lays off of it. Malone rips it down.
Rips is right.
Malone with 13 rebounds to go with his 22 points. Typical Malone type game. Malone the follow away. Antoine Carr couldn't get out there quickly enough.
You see, there was a little thing that happened there that was very clever. He faked like he was going to go away to screen. Antoine Carr went with him, then he came right back to the ball. Got an easy shot. Karl Malone.
10:50 left in this game. Carr in the face of Malone, and Malone fouled him. They almost got the bounce on that one. Well, this Utah team, if you look at them this year, they were 33-8 at home. They did have a losing record on the road for the 20th straight year. But what consistency. 5 of the last 6 years, they've won 50 games, and this guy's the all-time winningest coach for the Jazz, now with 304 victories.
Well, I actually grew up, I shouldn't say grew up, I was a high school coach in Chicago when Jerry Sloan was in the backcourt with Norm Van Leer. Dick Motta was the coach, the great Dick Motta, as I always refer to him. I always admired him. But Jerry Sloan was one whale of a basketball player. He played point guard often. People don't realize that. He used to kind of Sloan the ball up the court, you know, by turning his back.
Well, he was quite a defensive player, wasn't he?
No one would like to be guarded by Jerry Sloan.
By the way, he's the only guy in Bulls history to have his number retired. There might be another guy who'll have his retired in a few years, but Sloan's number 4 retired by Chicago.
Who might that other guy be?
I think he's playing baseball in Birmingham right now.
333. You know, I'll tell you a quick story about Jerry Sloan. I once was giving a camp in Chicago, invited him to speak to some of the outstanding high school players in the city of Chicago. So I said, who would like to play one-on-one with Jerry Sloan? We had 20 of the finest players. No one would come out.
There's Tom Chambers slicing in, but give Stockton credit. He set it all up, put it on a platter for him.
Well, these two, little drop pass. They play together so well. Stockton, Malone, back to Stockton, and then a little drop pass to Tommy Chambers.
We may not see Karl Malone the rest of the night as he sits down. Malone with 24 points, 13 rebounds. Stockton now with 12 assists in the ball game. You know what? San Antonio's a team has 10. Stockton has more assists than the entire Jazz team.
Well, neither of these
I should say Spurs team.
Gary, neither of these teams have been very high in assists in the first two games, but San Antonio was embarrassingly low with about 19 per game. That is not very good.
Approaching 10 minutes to go in the game. Here's a J.R. Reed that's lost about 20 pounds. Sleepy Floyd, baseline. Mel Spencer's checked back into the ball game. Jay Humphries comes away with the rebound. Spencer playing with 4 personal fouls. Also David Benoit in now for Jerry Sloan's team. Dale Knight trying to fight to that pick, and Humphries from outside. His shooting has been very, very good. 4 of 6 tonight, 9 points. Dale Knight able to finish. The former Phoenix Sun who came over in a trade for a second-round draft pick. The one thing they talk about with San Antonio is a proven point guard. They've really struggled to find that guy.
Well, I'm not sure that Miguel Knight is going to be that person. They do like him. They think he has a good future. Bob Bass, I know, likes him. He's done well. Gary, I believe when he was a starter for KJ, when KJ was hurt, they amassed a pretty good record with Miguel Knight as the point guard, something like 22-4 or something.
But then he had a lot of problems injury-wise, and so we're going to take a break. 9:07 left to go. Here's tonight's Dutch boy in the paint.
Come on, everybody, bring it
Fast break points. Jazz getting out, running very effectively, and Malone having a huge night again.
Well, I think the most dramatic thing is the fast break points, especially when you consider the conversation we had with Jerry Sloan this morning when he predicted that that's the area of emphasis for his team, and they have responded.
Look at this. Jazz now trailed by as many as 37 in this game, 30 in game 2, 27 in game 1. Antoine Carr trying to cut into that deficit, makes it 87-54. So we have Stockton and Humphries in the backcourt, Felton Spencer, Tom Chambers, David Benoit, Carr, Floyd, J.R. Reed, Lloyd Daniels, and Miguel Knight. I tell you, if he continues to shoot that well, it's going to be quite a series for Jay Humphries. Out it comes now to J.R. Reed. Miguel Knight. Spencer, big body and all, timed that one very well. 5 rebounds for Spencer. Well, this Utah team coming home to the Delta Center, and they've had some fun tonight at the expense of the Spurs, who probably think this game's never going to end. Here comes J.R. Reed.
Yeah, you saw Tom Chambers miss that little easy shot. When he was younger, that's not a shot he ever missed.
Lloyd Daniels, who's played very well in this series. In fact, in the first 2 ball games, Lloyd Daniels has shot so well, hit 3 of 4 threes. And maybe, as you look ahead to the next game, John Lucas will have to find somebody that can get the hot hand for him.
Well, see, Lloyd Daniels is another person that can draw a double team, because when he's guarded by either John Stockton or Jeff Hornacek.
Was that pretty?
That was gorgeous.
What a nice move.
I was saying that when Lloyd Daniels is guarded by either starting guard for Utah, he can post them up and force double teams.
J.R. Reed, good effort. Rejected by Benoit, those long arms and that leaping ability. Sleepy Floyd. And John Stockton spots Humphries.
What court vision.
Out did Stockton see him that quickly?
You know, I always say that if a player can see an open man before the coach sees it, he has extraordinary vision. Extraordinary vision.
And he did. He saw him before Sloan saw him, I'll guarantee you.
Oh, yes.
Here's Daniels inside, and he is fouled. And we're going to have some new players coming in for the Jazz now. John Crotty and Stephen Howard.
We've got a timeout.
Let's go back, watch this, show you how quickly this ball comes out.
Timeout taken.
Well, J.R. Reed goes up. David Benoit showing some elevation there. And it results in another Benoit dunk.
93-56. Well, the Jazz's largest margin of victory is 39 points. They're at 37 as you look at Sharon Bradley.
Don Bradley and Mrs. Bradley.
And there's Steve Young of the 49ers. Played at BYU. Look at this pass by John.
Now, this is an extraordinary pass because no one knew that Jay Humphries was open other than John Stockton. Not one person in this arena, including myself or Coach Jerry Sloan, but John Stockton knew.
Lloyd Daniels gets it to 93-58. The lowest point output for San Antonio in a playoff game is 84 points, and that was Saturday, and they're going to be hard-pressed to get there with 6:36 left in this one.
Well, these are nightmare games for coaches. You know, I've had a couple of them, not too many, thank God.
Benoit tries to slam it away. J.R. Reed brings it out to Sleepy Floyd. Stephen Howard is checked into the ball game. Also into the game is John Crotty. He does get to play a lot, the former University of Virginia player, and he looks over to the bench as he put that left-handed shot off the glass and in.
Got that little smile on his face.
95-58. Antoine Carr, and he got the bounce. Other substitutions now coming into the ball game. Brian Russell will check in. Also Walter Bond. Inside the NBA, he'll be coming up after all this is over. Fred Hickman will have all the scores and highlights from tonight's action. Let's hear from the Rookie of the Year, Chris Webber of the Golden State Warriors. Inside the NBA coming up next on TNT. 95-61, 6 minutes left. It'll be game 4 Thursday here from the Delta Center. The Worm, Dennis Rodman, will be back. Can the Spurs somehow get back into the series? That ball will be deflected, and it'll be going over to San Antonio with 5:47 left in the game. If you're John Lucas, you can't just think that Rodman's going to solve all your problems. You still got to find somebody that can put the ball in the hole.
That's precisely what you say to your team. You know, we lost one of our guys. You know, we didn't do anything. He's not hurt. You know, you give a very dramatic speech. You try to rally your team. You know, say, all you have to do is win tonight. We're going home to wrap it up. That's exactly the speech you give. Warm returns. He inspires us all.
Okay. There's Crotty with a left-handed shot, and Jake O'Donnell spots the foul. 32% now from the field for San Antonio. Utah's bumped it up to 55.
That was number 32 of the Golden Knights.
And looking ahead tomorrow, the Nets and Knicks. And the Knicks will try to close that series out, as will the Suns against Golden State.
So these kinds of games, you know, in the playoffs, you very seldom get these kinds of blowouts. When you get them and you get a chance to get your bench involved, it's great for esprit de corps and camaraderie on your team. Gary, let's look out on the floor and see who's out there for Utah. John Crotty, Stephen Howard, right? David Benoit. I mean, this is like a team of no names.
Well,
Byron Russell,
Stockton and Malone,
Walter Bond,
who don't get a lot of breaks like this, enjoying this one, and they'll be getting ready for Thursday as Stephen Howard hits that one. Here's a guy that started in Europe this year, played in the Italian League. Then he had some problems getting paid, and then decided, I'm coming back to the United States, and they signed him as a free agent.
I watched him play at DePaul. He was a fine basketball player at DePaul University.
J.R. Reed rips it down. 4:54 left in this one. Again, Spurs are going to set, it looks like, an all-time playoff low for points scored. Their low previous to tonight, 84. They're at 61 now. There's Daniels. Well, to follow up on my question a while ago, Dick, about who else do you look forward to carrying you Thursday? Do you just burn this tape? Do you even look at it?
No,
John Lucas?
You do not look at it. Like John Lucas told us this morning, I didn't show my team the 0 for 25 that we had the other night. He says they didn't try to miss the shots. They tried to make the shots. There's no sense in adding insult to injury. So I think you just kind of recoup it. This game will be meaningless if they win on Thursday.
John Crotty's picking up the foul, and now Jack Haley will come into the ball game for San Antonio.
Number 54.
4:14 left in the game. Well, this will be 7 in a row at home for Utah going back to the regular season. San Antonio was a good road team this year. They were 23-18. They had a club record for wins. Their old record had been 22.
The Admirals getting a little rest tonight, but you know, I think John Lucas is, you know, other than the one little attempt to fire up his team by getting the technical or the frustration, you know, he needed to vent just to get it off his chest. His attitude right now is one of resignation. That's what he should do. Look, he looked up at the clock, and you know, Gary, have you ever coached, Gary?
No.
Ever coached a basketball game?
No.
When you're ahead, the clock never moves. And when you're behind, what happens? What happens?
They keep putting time back on the clock. Right? Here it comes out to Walter.
Blue books at 10 and true.
Yeah. Benoit off balance, and he is fouled. Well, you know, at one time, I mentioned this briefly, San Antonio played as well as anybody in the NBA. They had a 13-game winning streak in February. That was a franchise record. And they had remarkable months in January of 11-3, 11-2, and 11-4. January, February, March. Then in April, it started to get away a little bit. They were 4-7 in April.
Yes, and Dennis Rodman was suspended 3 times this year. This is the 3rd suspension, and he had one game that he didn't play, which was a coach's decision. John was telling us this morning, John Lucas was telling us that Dennis has gone from being a very good player to a major star in this league, and it's something that he's learning to adjust to. And Lucas told us that, hey, maybe I haven't done as good a job as I should have in trying to make and help Dennis understand the responsibilities of stardom.
What did he say? Too much love and not enough discipline, maybe.
Yes, he did mention that.
3:40 left in the ball game. Well, Rodman is a remarkable talent. There's never been anybody quite like him, the way he can rebound. And tonight, sorely missed.
Well, you know, I was with him for 2.5 years in Detroit, and he was an extremely likable young man, and one of the hardest workers you ever saw. But he didn't have the kind of stardom that he has now. He has his own national commercial now, and handling success is one of the most difficult things to do in life.
Dale Ellis. Ellis just doesn't look right. There's something out there in his shot as Miguel Knight is fouled. Ellis is 2 of 8 tonight. Sleepy Floyd will come in at the first opportunity as we have 3:08 left in the ball game. Well, he talked about Rodman as well as you look at Dale Ellis with that 2 of 8. He said, had the NBA not addressed what happened Saturday with Dennis Rodman, he said we would have. We would have had to have some kind of a disciplinary action because we could not continue with what was going on in the Alamo Dome.
I was a little surprised at that. You know, I saw the things that happened. They didn't look that overt to me. I mean, they definitely happened. I mean, I've seen, you know, guys like Tree Rollins, you know, throw those same kind of knees and hips into players. But I think it's the focus on Dennis is magnified by, you know, his demeanor. Yeah. And I think he's paying the price for that.
Well, he was ejected from 5 games, suspended twice during the regular season, so he had kind of attracted that kind of following as Stephen Howard is fouled there. I mean, his reputation obviously far preceded him into the playoffs.
Well, it did indeed, and I'd like to see it all work out for Dennis because inside he's a very good person.
Well, I tell you, San Antonio is closing in on a dubious record. The lowest points scored in any playoff game is 70. 1973 Golden State against the Lakers. The Sonics scored only 70 points in 82. And we have 2:54 left in this one. And Antoine Carr and the Spurs have 66. Largest margin of defeat in an NBA playoff game for the Spurs is 47 points. So they're okay there.
And I think they're going to be okay because I think they'll score 6 points. And all they actually need to score is 4.
Stephen Howard.
I mean, we do have almost 3 minutes left in this game.
Well, it's interesting in looking at some of the notes that we had talking with John Lucas. He said, I was very comfortable coming into this ball game. He thought the key was how the guards would respond. He says, we got to pick them up defensively. He said, we didn't bump them in game 2. I don't know if they bumped him in game 3. They didn't do something in game 3.
They got bumped in game 3. And on the other hand, Jerry Sloan, when asked about the absence of Dennis Rodman, said, I'm not necessarily happy nor unhappy about his absence.
2 for 9 now for Dale Ellis. To me, that would be a huge difference if that shot started to go for Ellis.
Well, you know, you're talking about throughout the course of this series. Of course, Dale Ellis has not shot well. He is hurt. But what's interesting, I think, Gary, is that they continue to plan for heavy minutes. Don't they have another option? Maybe not. What about Sweet Pea?
Maybe he thinks he'll shoot his way out of it. I don't know. Haley with his first 2 points. 99-68. Crotty with a 3. 102-68. 2 minutes left in this one. A lot of people have left. They'll be ready to come back Thursday and see their hometown team close out this series. The winner then of the Seattle-Denver series, Stephen Howard comes down to the rebound. Denver picking up a win last night at McNichols Arena.
I was surprised at that. I really thought that Seattle would go in there and finish it up. But Matungo causes lots of problems for lots of teams in this league.
And that young team is growing up. They're getting some playoff experience. They did not fare well in game 1, played much better in game 2 out in Seattle, and then winning last night. 1:28 left in the game now as Howard will go to the line again. You know, another remarkable thing about this game is that David Robinson led the entire NBA in free throws made and attempted. He did not go to the free throw line tonight.
Look at his assists. He also was the second leading assist man on his team, and the only center in the league since David Cowens in 1978 to lead his team in scoring and assists.
He had no blocks tonight and the 1 assist. He had 4.8 assists.
When things are going well, they like to call David Robinson a point center.
Yes.
They do run the offense through him from outside to the high post, and it's been very effective most of the year. You know, it chalked up 55 wins for him.
Now Ellis with a 3, still not there. 2 of 10. Howard tries to come down with it. Haley's got it. Antoine Carr got hit in the face. He's hurt. He's trying to shake it off right now. And here's the steal. Watch this. Oh, he missed the slam, and it goes clear back over to Hot Rod Huntley, the voice of the Utah Jazz, who makes a one-hand stab.
Well, he's still got good hands, but it's a good thing that you said watch this because everyone thought it was going to be made. You knew that it was going to be missed.
All right, now the Spurs need 2 points to tie the all-time low in playoff history for points in a game, and they still have 56 seconds to get it. Well, our Budweiser player of the game, Karl Malone, 24 points, 13 rebounds, and Budweiser will donate $1,000 on behalf of Karl to the United Negro College Fund. So the mailman, another outstanding performance, getting the Jazz within 1 win of moving in to the next round. And Karl getting some time on the bench to rest up for that game on Thursday.
You know, Gary, not only did I like his numbers and the fact that he got his numbers in short minutes, I liked his hustle. We talked about him diving out of bounds to save balls that really you don't have a chance to get. The picks that he set, just the way he ran the court. He was a ton. Plus, don't forget the defense that he played on David Robinson.
So they tie the all-time low. That's the third team now with 70 points as we have 51 seconds left in the game. Here is Brian Russell, the rookie out of Long Beach State, fouled. And I tell you, Dick, he's been listening to us too long here tonight, evidently. He's just given up. I tell you,
I'm sorry, that is a class.
Oh, man. That guy next to him must be a good friend to let him lean on him like that, huh? 104.70.
Well, yeah, I didn't notice it before, but if you look around this arena, it's about 1/3 filled right now. But Jerry Sloan still up.
He's still coaching, yeah.
Calling out the plays, trying to get the execution that he likes.
Into Antoine Carr with 34 seconds. That ball partially tipped, I think, by Brian Russell. Out it comes to Benoit. Benoit can't save it. It'll go back the other way with 27 seconds. We have an update on Houston-Portland. 26 seconds remaining, and Portland now stays alive in that series after losing the first two. And the shot missing, still at 70 points. Still could be tied for the all-time low with Seattle and Golden State. Benoit, Haley with the rebound. And Reed, if he hurries, can avoid that, and he did. He did avoid it.
I'm sure he had no idea what he was avoiding.
But he did. 72 points. So they did not end up with the lowest point total in any playoff game. 105-72. We're going to take a break. We'll be going to Atlanta and Ernie Johnson.
Ernie Johnson back with you in our Atlanta studios. Let's run through the scores tonight. Houston and Portland are playing right now on TBS. It is 116-112 Portland in the closing seconds. You can watch it on TBS. Chicago is into the Eastern Conference semifinals, 95-92 winners over the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's a 3-game sweep. And Atlanta, the #1 seed in the East, is in trouble. 90-86. They lose to Miami to fall down 2-1 in that series with Game 4 in Miami. All the highlights come your way on Inside the NBA with Fred Hickman. So many highlights, you'll be begging him to stop. San Antonio falls big at Utah by 33. We'll turn it over to Gary Bender and Dick Versace after this.
The NBA playoffs on TNT are brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste. And by Isuzu, makers of incredible four-wheel drives, including the Isuzu Rodeo, Amigo, and the remarkably luxurious Isuzu Trooper.
5 Jazz players in double figures, led by Karl Malone's 24, as the Jazz defeat San Antonio 105-72, and they take a 2-1 lead. NBA action continues tomorrow with another NBA playoff doubleheader. 8 o'clock Eastern, the Knicks and the Nets, followed by the Suns and the Golden State Warriors. Stay with us now for Inside the NBA with Fred Hickman. So for Dick Versace, I'm Gary Bender saying good night from Salt Lake City, where tonight the Jazz with a commanding 105-72 victory.
Tonight on the basketball show of record, the heat was on the Atlanta Hawks tonight as that series moved to Miami. The Bulls tried to close out the Cavs this evening, but the homeboys would not go quietly. Can the Blazers shoot down the Rockets as they staged through Oregon? And what about the Spurs on a night the worm would not turn? Buckner's out, Weber's in, and a look ahead. All next on tonight's excursion, Inside the NBA.
Inside the NBA with Fred Hickman.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Inside the NBA. We're going to be going back to Salt Lake City for some live interview after the Jazz takes care of the San Antonio Spurs tonight. But first, we're going to saddle up and go dancing with some highlights. Jackie Gleason used to refer to Miami as the sun and fun capital of the world. Well, that's quite true if you happen to be chilling on a nice beach someplace in South Florida. But when you are the Atlanta Hawks trying to win a playoff game in hostile territory, Much different story. The Heat, shorthanded and all fired up after the big WrestleMania thing they had in Atlanta at the Omni Saturday, came out to prove that they indeed mean business in this series. We'll take a look at the highlights of Game 3 for you. They came in tied at 1-up. Kevin Willis and Danny Manning hoping to come up big, and Steve Smith does. He's working on one bad leg, but he comes up with a layup here, the reverse. And Coach Lenny Wilkins says, man, this is a bad house, and we're going to have some problems. Smith here, one-handed Jay as he rubs off a little Ronnie Cycli screen. Then John Sally turns up the D as he rejects Craig Elo, pinning it right to the glass. Then Glenn Rice sets himself on fire. The three, the jam, the hoop where he is hacked in the act. Nicely done. Grant Long out of the game. Everybody picked up the slack. He was suspended as of that Saturday night thing. Elo inside to Andrew Lang for the strong hoop. Lots of emotion there. The Hawks within 4. Off the miss. Cycli pulls down his 20th board and gets the put back to go. He is the guy who started in Long's stead. Mookie Blaylock knocks down the 3 to cut the Heat lead to just 1. He was stone cold all night until it counted. Now down 3. Mookie again to tie. Can't hit it. Did not have a good shot at it. Didn't get a good look at the basket. Loose ball is Miami's, and Game 3 is Miami's as well. Kevin Lockery's team goes up 2 wins to 1 as they win it, 90-86. An awful day for Kevin Willis. 0 for 8 from the field, only 2 points in the game. Ronnie Cycli stepping up big for the Heat, 12 points and 20 boards, replacing Grant Long. Mookie Blaylock, 3 of 15 from the floor, but those threes were the threes that kept the Hawks in late. The Heat with a chance for history Thursday at the arena.
They've been killing us inside, and we're going with the double team real quick and making him pass it out and try to get his points from maybe jump shots or try to take him away from his game.
You know, backs it to the wall, and so the next game we got to come out and we got to establish tempo early. We cannot wait on the other team. You know, we're getting off to slow starts. We just got to come out and be aggressive and be confident and make our shots.
I think that, you know, it's a fact that we have to close it out here. We do not want to go back to Atlanta. And I think if we come out and play the same way we did tonight, aggressive defense and pass the ball around to the open people and get some good shots, we're gonna win this game.
As I told these guys the whole year, it's a bit of professionalism. They have to be professional about it. When you're professional about it and you're a professional athlete, you take care of business professionally. You don't come in, it's not college. You take care of business while the business is at hand. And if they have that attitude and they understand that attitude, we won't have to go back to Atlanta. I won't get back to see my mother and my father or get any home-cooked meals, but I really don't want that right now. I can have that in the summertime.
Well, John Sally, a guy who won 2 championships with the Detroit Pistons, certainly knows what he's talking about. The Miami Heat has a chance now to become the only 8 seed ever to knock off a 1 seed in the playoffs. Now, the plight of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are eliminated from the playoffs 4 times in 6 years by Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, so Michael Jordan retires. The 2 teams face each other again in the playoffs, and wouldn't you just know it? The Cavs come in all lamed up. And tonight, down 2-love in their first rounder, the Cavs were staring right down the barrel of that same old gun again. We'll take you to Richfield, Ohio. And boy, I'll tell you what, the Cavs were not going to be pushed around tonight. In fact, they were going to do all the pushing. Second quarter, Cleveland on the run. Terrell Brandon, look-away pass to Tim Kempton for the layup. And Phil's going, man, we better get a hold of these guys. Third quarter, the Cavs run off the steal. And Mark Price's touch pass turns into a Chris Mills jam. Moments later, Price and Hill worked the 2-man game. That was their only recourse this evening, actually. Hill rolls and hits the layup. He is hacked in the act. The no-sweep sign is out, but would it take effect? No. The Bulls open up with an 11-0 run in the fourth quarter. The Cavs D does not get back. Pippen makes him pay. Tied at 75. Seconds later, Tony Kukoc with the pinch. Get it ahead to Steve Kerr, who feeds Pippen, streaming down the middle. Finger roll, nice, and we head into overtime. The Bulls cannot get it down, so watch here as the Cavs try to run. Good transition basketball. Now remember, this is a team whose entire starting front line is sitting on the bench hurt. Mills for the easy 2 right there. Tied at 92, the Bulls in some deep trouble, shot clock running out, but Pippen comes through, driving the lane just as the buzzer goes. 94-92 Chicago. That was the real killer. The Bulls by 3 with 3.9 left. The Cavs with a chance to tie. But Wilkins' 3 is off the mark, and the sweep is fait accompli. 95-92, the final score in overtime. Mark Price with 23 in the defeat. He had 23 in the other two games combined. Pippen with 23 points. Kukoc with 18 off the Bulls Pine. Same old song for these two. The Bulls move on. The Cavs go home. Now, we're going to get to our little late night coffee talk. We're going to head back to Salt Lake City tonight where the Utah Jazz have beaten the San Antonio Spurs 105-72. And Jeff Hornacek, welcome to the show. I would sing happy birthday to you, but I don't think you want me to do that. Congratulations on a good game tonight, though. Hello, Jeff?
Yeah.
Jeff, I'm not going to sing to you, so you may as well talk to me. Happy birthday to you and welcome to the show. Hello, Jeff Hornacek. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll take a break here and we'll try to get back to... I scared him when I said I was going to sing. We'll take a break and we'll come right back with a lot more basketball to talk about. The Dallas Mavericks, they make their move today. It's not a big surprise, but we can tell you that Quinn is no longer in. And we'll be back in just a moment.
I think what we did, we let the tempo of the game get out of our hands. And when you're playing that up-tempo game, that's pretty much the way that Cleveland likes to play. Price and come at you and pull up and knock shots down. And once we was able to get control of him, our defense really stepped up, and that's what got us back into the game.
That's been the key, and that's what this playoffs is all about. So, defensively we had to rely on that to get us back in the ball game. And that third and fourth quarter, especially in the fourth quarter, we were able to shut them down and get ourselves back in this ball game.
We had a good game, a couple times up and down, but we had a good game. We came back on the right time.
We wanted to go in this series tonight, and I wasn't going to just stay on the bench and pout and things like that. So, it was a total team effort tonight.
Obviously, those were the Chicago Bulls talking about their victory tonight over the Cleveland Cavaliers and the fact that they're looking ahead to the New York-New Jersey winner. Perhaps it is going to be New York as they lead their series 2 wins tonight. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's try Jeff Hornacek back in Salt Lake City again, where the Jazz have beaten the San Antonio Spurs. Jeff, can you hear me? Hello, Jeff Hornacek.
No. I heard the interviews. I can't hear Fred.
You heard the interviews, but you can't hear me. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to try that break once again, and when we come back, one way or another, we are going to talk to Jeff Hornacek of the Utah Jazz. Stay with us. Inside the NBA continues.
Tonight's Inside the NBA quiz. Who holds the record for free throw futility in a single game? The answer in a moment.
Welcome back to the show. The Dallas Mavericks owner, Donald Carter, figured all his players and many front office people couldn't be wrong. There was talk of disgruntled players all season long, young and old. But still, there are the other things to talk about. Everything, in fact, pointing to the fact that the first-year coach, Quinn Buckner, was not quite cutting the mustard. And so today, after only one season on the job, Buckner is out. He is fired. The bedraggled Mavericks went an NBA worst, 13-69 under Buckner. Mashburn and Jackson had complained about Buckner's inflexibility. Derek Harper had complained as well. Of course, he was later rescued by the New York Knicks. It was a big enough problem that Carter was willing to, well, at least walk away from the final 4 years of Buckner's 5-year contract.
I knew we had a bunch of bridges that got burned early, and I was looking to see if I could find enough timbers to repair them. And if I could have, we wouldn't be having this meeting this morning. So Quinn Buckner is not our head coach anymore. As you look at our actions from the pre-camps through camp into the season, you can find lots of places where that we should have smelled the wood burning, and we should have done something sooner so that we did not have to have this action today. I don't think that we were wrong in what we were trying to do. Didn't turn out that way. But I don't think we were wrong in what we were trying to do. Now, the people that had input on that decision are not going to be a big part of the input on this one.
Well, the Mavericks are a franchise with a great background and a great city, going no place fast, unfortunately. 74 wins over the last 4 years, only one winning campaign in the last 6 years. Hard to believe this team not too long ago was battling for the Western Conference Championship. Well, who's next replacing Buckner? The name circulating around the Metroplex tonight happens to be former Mavericks head coach Dick Motta. Motta was there in the 80s for 7 years. He spent the last part of this past season consulting with the ball club. And whether he wants the full-time grind again, we simply don't know. Stay tuned for more information on that. Now, you know, a sweep for a team winning its first 2 at home is just about the toughest thing there is to fashion in a best-of-5 first-round series. It is tough because that third game will be in enemy territory against a team sure to be playing in a desperate manner. Like a drowning man, he will snatch at razor blades if he has to. Such was the plight of the Houston Rockets tonight, trying to close out the Blazers in Portland this evening. The game is just finished. We'll take a look at the final score for you. 118-115. The Portland Trail Blazers hang on. The series now moves to 2-1 with Game 4 coming up Thursday. Once again, they will play that one in Portland. Well, still ahead on the basketball show for big kids, we've got lots more to talk about, including the young folks. The NBA's Rookie of the Year voting. Close, but crystal clear. Stay with us. We'll go back inside after this.
The answer to tonight's Inside the NBA quiz, who holds the record for free throw futility in a single game? Wilt Chamberlain, 0 for 10 on November 4th, 1960.
Now, one of the more interesting first-round series in the field. You saw it here. The Utah Jazz welcoming the San Antonio Spurs to town for Game 3. The two clubs split the first 2 back in Texas, both in blowout fashion, but there was one thing missing from Game 3. The Spurs' leading rebounder, Dennis Rodman, suspended for this game after portraying Wesley Snipes, the demolition man, in Game 2. You heard all about that on our show yesterday. Anyway, quarterback Steve Young in attendance at Game 3. He's a Utah native, San Francisco quarterback. First quarter, he saw the Jazz come up with a steal. John Stockton, Karl Malone, layup, piece of cake. Utah by 8. Moments later, Willie Anderson of the Spurs uses a nice spin move to get in the lane and then nail down the baby hook. But they had nothing going for them as far as San Antonio was concerned along the baseline. Stockton here penetrates, draws the D, uses the wraparound to feed Malone. A beautiful no-look pass and some heavy traffic. The Jazz by 10. Isn't it nice that Malone kept coming on that play? He knew he would be rewarded. Still in the second, the Spurs cannot knock it down. And Jay Humphries from just inside half court feeds David Benoit, who slams it. Jazz by 14 at the half. So bad for the Spurs. Coach John Lucas collides with a player, pushes away, and he gets a technical foul. He was trying to get that thing, though, anything to get his team fired up. They didn't have it. Fourth quarter, Humphries again with a nice pass, this time to Tom Chambers for the slam. Utah by 32, 105-72, the final score. Utah is the winner in the game, 72 points. Boy, I'll tell you what, San Antonio came close to the tying the all-time low for points scored in a playoff game. The Jazz leading the series 2-1, and they can close this thing out Thursday when they play once again at the Delta Center. Now, a lot of people in basketball felt there ought to be 2 Rookies of the Year, one in each the East and West conferences, and the close balloting in the competition indicates that mightn't have been such a bad idea. But there can be only one. And the media panelists select Golden State center Chris Webber over Orlando's Anthony Hardaway, but just by a hair. Webber took 53 of the 101 ballots cast. Webber, who led his Michigan Wolverines team to 2 straight trips to the NCAA title game, helped the Warriors make the biggest improvement of any team in the NBA. Webber, who scored 18, boarded 9, blocked 2, and assisted 4 per game, fended off furious campaigns from the Hardaway and Mashburn camps to win.
A good feeling, because I remember reading the papers and things and seeing that, you know, when they talked about Rookie of the Year in the beginning of the season, it was Anthony or Jamal, and I never remember my name being mentioned, and I told Fred then that, you know, I'm going to prove all those people wrong, and I just like to thank Coach for really helping me out and the team as well. If you're the #1 pick, I guess that you're supposed to play well and be one of the best rookies. Not, you know, I can't remember the last time a #1 pick came in and just flopped that first year, and I just really want to come in and start strong and finish strong. So more so than winning the award, it was just having people say, well, yeah, he was a good pick for that team and he really can play.
It's an award I thought he deserved, and that's the main thing. He worked hard for it. He's a big part of what we do. I think his